It's pink day. You didn't know it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like a mauve.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. It's
Hello.
Cindy
And Christine.
with Candles and Supplies in beautiful Quakertown, Pennsylvania today. Today we're doing whipped wax. So
Yes. It's one of those questions we do hear a lot, so we figured it'd be good to do a live one.
we do, yeah. So and we're coming up towards fall, so all the dessert candles and the really delicious things and stuff like that.
Pies.
Pies.
Yeah.
Parfaits, every kind of dessert candle you can imagine, you can make with whip wax. So or garnish with whip wax. So you can use it as a garnishment, you can use it as a candle. Either way, it's very versatile, and there's lots of different items you can do. Give us a shout out if you can hear us. Make sure that everybody tell us who you are, where you're from, wave to us, whatever. That way we know where everything's working, our technology's working. So.
So most recently we did a little bit of a whipped wax on one of the watermelon candles that they did because we thought it'd be fun. So this is the watermelon candles. We definitely posted it places so you can see that the sides there. It's this one.
So to me, I would call
wax.
this a smooth and creamy
Yeah.
whip. So what whipped wax is really is you're taking wax. It's kind of like beating egg whites to make like a meringue on a pie. So you're taking wax, letting it cool a little bit, and then whipping it up. But there's many different variations because like you can get a smooth, creamy whip like that. You can get a very crumbly whip like this. This is actually a form of whipped wax. This is crumbs that we're going to use for like crumb cakes and crumb pies coming up since it's pie season. So you can use it like that. Yep, you can use, like a thicker whip.
Yeah, if anyone remembers these from last year with our little pumpkin ones, so you got like this one we used the fork on, so it has a little bit more of an intense effect.
Yep, a little bit different texture.
Yep.
So basically all wax is a whip. So that's the next question we get is, okay, you want to whip wax, you want to garnish your candles, that type of thing. What wax do I use, right? What wax is best? That's always like such a open-ended question. All waxes will whip. So it depends on kind of the look that you're going for. Like, do you want the more like creamier kind of whip? Do you want something stiffer that'll hold up, like in a pie? Do you want something that's going to hold up in a container? All waxes will whip though, depending on what you're going for. If you want something like, think of soft serve ice cream, like something smooth and creamy and stuff like that, you would use a smooth and creamy wax and everything for it. So
usually more like on the paraffin blend side.
Correct. So we're going to be doing a couple different whipping demos here today with different kinds of waxes. And you all do it the same way. It doesn't matter what kind of wax you use, it all does it the same way. But I kind of want to show you like the different stages of whip wax and stuff like that. So this would be like the very first stage of you whipping wax. It's nice and creamy and frothy and that type of thing. And then this would be like seriously whipped. So you just keep whipping it until it makes crumbs. This also doesn't work with like a soy wax or a real soft wax, soft container wax. You can also put wax, once it's soft, you can put it in a piping bag. You can pipe it out into your candles or on top of your candles to garnish it, to make it look smooth and creamy too. Now this obviously you can't pipe your candles and keep it nice and soft in there and everything with a very hard wax. So this hard wax makes harder kind of crumblier things. Softer wax, this is soy wax in here, so I'm actually doing this with soy wax. Actually it's coconut wax. So we have coconut wax in here, but it's nice and soft, so it stays nice and soft in my piping bag. So when I pipe my candle, it'll stay soft. It's down here so everybody can see it. So we'll work with different things, and we'll do a couple different techniques. One thing to consider is, with your candles, are you going to be displaying them like at craft shows out in the heat and the sun? Or are you going to be shipping them? That type of thing, because they all look pretty when they start out. But if you're using a very soft wax and whipping it and garnishing it and stuff like that, and you have a finely detailed whip and stuff, and then you're sitting at a craft show where it's, like 100 degrees in the sun, all that's going to kind of melt down. So you have to kind of consider that too. And it's okay to use a soft wax. You can add like a harder wax to it or a steric to it or something like that to kind of harden it up so that it keeps its peaks and valleys and texture looking things. So. But yeah, any wax will whip. You can use any of them, but just think about the hardness that you want in your finished candles. You want it to be harder, do you want it to be softer? So like these crumbles, I intend to put this on the bottom layer because it's going to be like a crumb pie candle. So I want it to look all crumbly like a graham cracker crust, but we're going to be pouring like hot gel over top of it. Gel gets poured at like 200 degrees. So I want these to hold up. So I used a harder wax. So I used this wax, just a paraffin. Just a much harder wax so that I can get those crumbles and it holds up to the heat of the gel too. So these waxes, since it's just in a container, it's a softer wax because it can just like hang out there and look pretty, look like grass in my pumpkins, like a pumpkin patch. Doesn't have to be like super smooth and creamy and whippy like this one. It just needs to look like grass. So that was my intentions for that. So when selecting your waxes, kind of think about like what they do in the end and what you might want to use for that. So whipping wax is fun and easy though. So let's get started. Okay. So first thing you need to do is heat your wax, and we have our wax heating on the griddle here. I like using griddles for this because you can melt your wax and it'll melt her if you're doing a lot of whip wax, but griddles are nice because what will happen if you start whipping wax, it's kind of like watching grass grow. You're waiting for the wax to cool while you're whipping it, and then the phone will ring or this will loud or you get distracted. If you have a griddle, you can always just like reheat it if it gets too hard. If you whip it and you accidentally whip it too much, so say I was doing this and I'm like, oh no, I wanted it to be smooth and creamy, I could just pop this back on the griddle and reheat it. You can also hit it with the heat gun to reheat it too. But you can always like remelt and re-whip. Sometimes when you're
forgiving.
It's very forgiving, yeah. So one of them that we'll do, we're gonna coat a little votive, make a little grubby votive, and one of them that we'll do. So like this one, it's real easy to get it too hard. I want it to be like whipped enough to where we can dip this in and put it all around and make a grubby votive, but it's real easy to get too hard. So then you can always just reheat it, just pop metal thing on the griddle. I like using metal containers because you can just heat gun them in the end. They clean up real nice and stuff like that. I find that plastic kind of holds the candle scent and the candle dye into it. So I don't typically use plastic unless it's some type of disposable plastic that you're doing. But metal works very nice. Metal pie plates, metal bowls, they clean up real nice and they're ready to use again, just like your melting pots. So your melting pots are nice and you can clean them up and everything too. So metal bowls work very good for piping.
They do get hot though, so I'm assuming no. So
they do get hot, yeah. So that's
that.
one thing. Yeah. After you've made a lot of candles, your hands are tough and it's not too bad, but you don't want to burn yourself at the same time. So, okay. So what I did when you guys weren't watching, I melted some wax and we're going to do a couple different batches. And one of them is this hard wax, just hard paraffin, because I want to make, I have, graham cracker crumbles, but I want to make chocolate crumbles too, right? You're going to make them.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, Christine's going to make the chocolate crumbles because that way we can do like fancy chocolate pies and stuff like that. So look for them in future things. But I want to make the crumbles ahead of time. That way I have them and I can just assemble the candles real quick. So over here I have some melted wax.
That's really hot.
Kind of
talks about that.
Paper towels. So here my wax is melted. Everybody can see that. Melted wax. Yep. So first thing we'll do is add color and scent. I set this aside off the heat because we want it to start cooling. You can't whip wax until it starts cooling. But in the meantime, Christine can add the color. I don't have any chocolate scents in here, so we're not going to scent it.
Mocha?
Mocha and black.
Oh,
because I want it to be like dark, like if you take a milk chocolate bar and you grate it, like.
All right, how many?
Chocolate. Okay. So there's about a pound of wax in there.
Spoon.
Yep. Let's use 4 drops of mocha and 1 drop of black. And what black does, it just deepens up the mocha color, so it doesn't look like, chocolate that's bloomed. This one side too. All right. Ooh.
These low things.
Mix that. Yeah, it's
crazy.
hot. We should have started cooling it a little earlier, but that's all right. So we'll mix our color in there. Scent's already in there. And we're just going to let it sit aside after she mixes it real well. Get your color right first. And if you need to test your color, which we're going to do next, you can just leave some in the belly of the spoon. You can also put it on like a piece of white paper towel. Want more? Yeah, no, that's good. And you can test your color, so in the end, the color is gonna kind of be like a chocolate color. It looks a little whiter because it's on a white paper towel, but we're going for like chocolate graham cracker crumbs, so. That looks good to me, what do you think?
Yep, looks good.
Okay, sounds good. You can just set that aside to cool. We'll revisit that later.
And move them up, is that
Yeah. All right. So the next one we'll do, it takes a little more timing. So this is just no special candle. This is a candle that we keep in our classroom. So I always keep a wick jar so that if people get too much wax or whatever, you can just keep refilling the jar. But what we're going to do is pipe some wax onto this. So this is our coconut wax. It's nice and soft. And all I did was let it cool and then start it up. So you can see it's very nice and soft and squishy in this bag. Very, very squishy. So should be perfect for piping. And we're just going for some like nice smooth blobs. I'll let you do it. Do you know how to pipe?
blobs?
Yeah.
Not really.
Okay. So the easiest way this is just a piping bag and a piping tip. So if you get your wax in there, if you kind of twist it to where it's all tight, it's easier, and then you just squeeze it.
You're thinking like dollop-esque? Is that
Yeah,
what you're
yeah, just go for like dollops. Go for like a nice smooth kind of top. One thing nice about using a soft wax like coconut wax or soy wax, when you're piping it, you get a very long time to work with it because it's soft to begin with, and you can work it in between your hands to kind of keep it warm. You want it to be stiff enough to pipe. Sometimes it blows out all over the place.
Yeah, oh, there we go.
You broke the bag.
I did. It doesn't come out.
Yeah.
And I got black all over my hands.
Oh my goodness.
I'm a mess.
One thing too about finding piping tips, you want to find ones that are wide enough. So this one is like a fancy Russian piping tip. I'm not sure this is going to actually work unless the wax is hotter.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if there was something. It seems like it's clogged or something.
Yeah. Yeah, the tip is just too small. So go over there, grab another piping bag and the scissors. So if you use a tip that's too small, it won't come out. I was hoping to make a fancy thing, but yeah. You don't need anything else, just a bag.
Oh, okay.
And the scissors are over there. We're just going to transfer the wax from one to the other. Don't cut that yet. Okay. So these are just simple piping bags. They look like carrots.
So you can't even cut that bag. You can try that bag?
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to squeeze it out. It has the tip in it. The tip's in the end.
Oh, okay, I got it.
We want to ditch the tip, so because it's not wide enough. So you don't have to use a metal tip. You can just use the bag itself, because we're just going for like plain dollops. Hold that. Takes 2 hands. Oh wow.
Yeah, shoot, that's why I put it on.
All right. We're just gonna get this wax in here. It was sitting here a little too long while we were waiting to go live with you guys, so that's all right.
Now I cut it?
Yep, just cut a little bit off. Yeah. So now we're just gonna use the piping bag by itself with no tip.
My scissors cooperated.
I
Okay, I think we got it.
think we've cut a few too many wicks with those scissors, so. Doesn't cut
All right, now it's coming.
Yep.
Oh.
Remember, you gotta twist it. If you twist it, it won't come out the top too. It's her first time piping.
Clearly.
And you can do fancy little designs. Oh, look at you being a piping artist now. It's kind of fun too, isn't it?
It is. I always admire the people that do the cakes and stuff.
Yeah.
They're always very pretty.
Let's go a little closer to the camera, see if we can get her. Because you're doing a fantastic job.
Oh, thank
here.
you.
I'll hold the candle and you pipe. How's that sound?
Well, I don't know if we're gonna be able to well, we're gonna do Facebook first, then we'll move over to Instagram. Oh, or can we do both?
Back here. Can you guys all see this? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we're good. So she's just piping it on the top.
Stay still. She's moving. That one got big.
Yeah. And if you cut the hole bigger, more wax will come out.
Right.
There you go. just with a piping bag. So that's what happens when you do soft wax. So again, this is what I was telling you about, like at craft shows, if you're doing craft shows and everything. This is all great and stuff, but this may melt down a little bit. You just want to make sure. It is fun.
I know, I
right?
want to keep going.
Yeah.
All right.
You can keep doing more on there if you want to. It's fun. Okay. So our chocolate here, our chocolate crumbs,
it's starting to cool.
it's starting to cool a little bit. What we want to do is I usually like kind of try to get as much cool as I can because I'm impatient. So this whole waiting for the wax to cool is very difficult for me. So we'll just squish it around. And to get the crumbs, I use a fork. A fork, if you just rake it through, works very well. So we're just going to rake this in here. See that?
I want to do a big one on this one.
We're waiting for that one to cool. She's not done piping yet.
No. I had too much fun, so I had to keep
It
going.
is fun.
I'm thinking about going all the way around for this one. Okay. Granted, I think I
Do
cut
it.
the wick a little too short, but that was because the scissors were giving me attitude. Yeah, the wick's gone. It's fine.
I'm going to garnish it with some crumbs.
Yeah.
You can do chocolate crumbs, maybe, once we get them done. Or you could
Yeah.
garnish it with those. Either one.
I feel like chocolate probably looks better.
Yeah.
Right?
We'll
Look
garnish
how
that with
pretty
chocolate
it
crumbs once we
is.
get chocolate crumbs. It's very pretty, so.
Even though I don't have a wick now because it's in there.
Leave your wick
It's
long
fine.
enough. Yeah, it's fine.
Wasn't really planning on burning this anyway, so.
And then one thing, the wax always gets lighter. So when you whip it, the wax will be lighter than what it was. So what I did is I got some pink wax. I don't know why I'm in a pink mood. It's like pink day. We didn't plan this pink
Because on
shirt
Wednesdays we
thing.
wear pink.
We do? Okay,
Why
no. But anyway, I poured this pink candle because I wanted to show you the color and what happens when you actually whip the wax. So we're just going to cover this candle with whipped wax. Here I have the wax cooling. It's in my melting pot, but I'm going to do it in the bowl because I think it'll make a better demo if we do it in the bowl. So this is the same wax, but when we whip it up, it's actually going to be a lot lighter in color.
Why is that?
Just because you're adding air to it and stuff like that, I think the air and making it fluffier and stuff just does some things to it. So try not to dump
So
it.
she's just doing a nice
Yeah.
little like spin on it.
So, yep, so this gets some of the wax on the side of the bowl to kind of cool it. And for this one, it's not my favorite way of whipping wax, but we're actually going to use, oops. We're going to use an electric mixer. And you can use it just with a regular attachment.
I feel like I
or
should move. Like,
a
it seems
whisk attachment.
dangerous.
No, you don't trust me?
I mean, just hot wax flying around just seems somewhat questionable.
Yeah. So that's what the whip wax is going to look like. So you see it's a lot different color pink. It's lighter. I think it looks very nice together. It's like an ombre, but it does get lighter. So if you want to whip wax and you want it to be like a super dark color, you're going to have to add an insane amount of color to it just to get it to keep its color and everything. So anyway, we'll whip this. Turn it on just a low, very low at first. And it kind of makes it. Hopefully you can see this. It
Got
kind of
some
makes it
bubbles happening.
bubbly. That's going to get it to cool quicker and stuff. So this gets it really, really, really whippy. You can also mix candle gel in it. So if you're doing like margarita candles and stuff like that, you could make this candle gel, and then whip that real bubbly and stuff, pour it in a margarita glass, and it gets that bubbly kind of look, which you can see. So by using power tools, you get like this. You guys can see. Can you hold it up there? Christine's coming. So you get like a bubbly kind of look.
Woo! Hey, when it does that. There we go. Yeah. Kind of, you know, like when you make a root beer float and you like put the root beer in after the ice cream's in there and it like bubbles up.
Yep.
It does like that, like, I don't know, like the foamy thing on the top. It kind of looks like that.
It does look like that. You're right. Yeah. So we'll keep going with this. And as you mix it, it cools off too. But I want this to be real frothy.
fluffier. Get the burger, so hopefully you guys can see it.
Flying out a little.
Yeah, so I feel like it's not hot now though, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's not. So this is still mobile. It might not be quite whippy. It still might be a little bit thin. We'll try it. I'm just going to dip this candle into it and see what happens.
Oh.
It looks a little, yeah. I think I want it to be a little more. I'm going to set this aside now because we can go for another dip. I just want it to be just a little bit thicker, but that gives it kind of like a smooth kind of whip.
Very like enticing to watch and mesmerizing.
It is. I make a very good AMSR video.
Yeah, so see the difference there.
So the more you whip it, the cooler it gets, the thicker it gets. Now we can actually, like, you could spoon it out
Okay.
too. Yep, your chocolate's doing great.
Okay. I'm just worried it's gonna dry.
Yeah. Say you get lots of time with the whip wax, so like, take a little bit of time to get it to the texture we want. But, the moment that you think you have enough time, you want to do like 10 candles, and then all of a sudden it's like hard. And that's when we would just pop it back on the griddle to kind of warm it up.
Gives you more time than
Yeah.
like soap does.
So, now we're just gonna drizzle this. Make it nice and big so it doesn't even look like a votive anymore. This is pretty old school. If you liked candles in the 90s, like, you'd be into this.
Although I feel like some of those older techniques are coming back on certain ways. So like the dessert
Good.
candles seem to like kind of phase out a little bit. Now they're back.
I love the
so-
way they look. Personally,
Yeah.
this is a cute, fluffy pink candle.
Should be like cotton candy scented or something.
Right?
That'd be fun. Unicorn dragon.
Oh, yeah. We're just gonna leave that there to cool. Get it in the bottom as much as I can. Yeah, so while it's warm, I'll try to get the bottom as smooth as possible. There still may be a little bit of trimming. And then any wax that you don't use can just be reheated and whipped up again. So that's that one. And Christine's gonna start working on her crumbs here. There's your fork.
What do I do?
Yeah, show them what it looks like now. So it's like congealed. It's got a nice skin on the top. And it's okay when you're making crumbs, it's okay to start with this, or even when you're whipping wax, it's actually whips up a little easier if it has like a little bit of a skin on the top.
Are you doing like this kind of effect?
So
this
you
type
can
of
do
effect?
that. For crumbs, you just rake it really.
Okay.
You just want to keep raking it, but see, it's very molten inside, so you may have to like stir it.
It reminds me of like a chocolate lava cake.
Oh, it does, yeah. It's definitely a chocolate lava cake now.
Apparently, I have food on my mind today.
Are you hungry?
I don't know.
No, these are dessert candles, so.
Yeah, I feel like it's warranted. So.
Food candles are fun. There's no calories. Look, we're not even getting fat doing this.
Woo!
I know, right?
So, I mean, it's raked now. Just keep going. with
Just
that.
keep, yep, so the more you rake it and chop it up and stuff like that, the more it gets crumbly. You can even like, once it's, like this has been pretty dry, it's a couple hours old, I can just crumble it in between my fingers if I want it to be finer. Or I could take the fork and do it, so.
I'll show you guys.
Wax is
kind of what
fun.
it looks like now.
Wax is so much fun.
I mean, I feel like it doesn't look super appetizing right now, but.
Think chocolate, yes it does. It's probably go a lot faster if we had a fan on this too. So if we had a fan cooling it off.
It is a little
it'd be
warm
faster.
right here. I don't know if it's just because the heat for the.
We got
grill
melters
behind
and
us.
griddles going
Yeah.
on. The air conditioning isn't on in this room. So there's that. Looking good. If you guys have any
Definitely,
questions,
yeah.
post them. While she's doing that, I'll look through questions in case you have any questions.
Yes, it's definitely more of a time-consuming process than just like pouring
It
a
is.
regular candle.
But I feel like it's
fun.
therapeutic. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very therapeutic. So, all right, let's see what Facebook and YouTube has to say. Happy Nurse Patty says, good afternoon. Gray Al can hear us.
Nope.
People from Maryland, South Carolina, all over the place. Nice. Hi, ladies. How much steric can you add? So, good question. So when you're doing a softer wax, if it's really soft, I would add like 1 to 2 tablespoons per pound of wax just to stiffen it up. The more steric you add, the stiffer it's going to get. So, if 1 to 2 tablespoons doesn't do it, add 3 tablespoons. If 2 tablespoons is too much, back it off. So, but just a little bit makes a big difference.
Is there any point where it might make it like too brittle or anything like that?
Yeah, if you do all steric, it's too brittle. Steric does not whip up. I know that's a wax, yes, but it does not whip up. Palm wax does not whip up very well either. It's just too brittle. Makes dust. So just like it comes. Yeah. All right. Amanda says she's been thinking of pipe wax lately. Seems to be on trend. It is it's on trend. Definitely. Because it looks so delicious and it's easy.
Yeah, it's cute. I mean, you don't have to do it like a too desserty. You do like pipe wax. You just do on top of like a regular candle and just Or the I feel like the pumpkin spice and everything always looks cute with like a pumpkin color and then like the
And
the
you
whipped
can
cream.
you
type
can
of thing on
garnish it like you
top.
could put a little cinnamon on top there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. Connie says hi. Connie made it home in time.
Yeah.
Next time you're here before we start a live stream, Connie, we're bringing you back. That's just happening. All right. Oh, somebody's inside the store. Oh, he's inside the store.
Oh,
Why don't you come on back if you're still here? Okay. Did you put scent in your whip wax? Yes, we like to scent everything. So scent it like whatever your candle's going to be, or if you want it to be different, you could scent it differently. One thing I didn't think of, what would be really cool with some like whipped wax on top, would be our new Oktoberfest scent with like a beer head on top. That would be absolutely amazing. So that would be really good. At what temperature do you start to whip for a whipped cream look? So as soon as the wax gets a skin on the top, so as soon as it gets that skin on the top, you can start to whip it. So it's not really temperature thing. It's more of like when it decides to skim over on the top. So, all right.
I feel like people like to pay attention to temperature a lot. I never pay attention to temperature, which may be good or bad. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I haven't messed up too many things, so I feel like it's fine.
Let me see if anybody's got any Instagram questions.
It's also something too that you might, once you do it more too, you'll know exactly what you're looking for, and then you're like,
You get good
good
at
to
it.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta scroll
Very
along
creative. Yeah. Says, went to your shop for the first time on August 11th. It was amazing. Felt like a kid in a candy store. Oh, thanks for visiting us. It makes us feel loved when people come see us. So.
Yeah, I know. Like, we always talk about how when people are at checkout or whatever, you can't keep walking around, so you keep finding things.
Right.
And it just keeps going.
Yeah.
Lots of things.
Oh my God, I was researching this the other day. Good. You can hear us. Washington. All right. Hello, everyone from sunny East Tennessee. From California.
How hot it is in Tennessee right now.
Yeah. Can you use the advanced 2-in-1 for this? Yep.
That'd
whip
be a
as
great
well.
one for us.
Yeah, so that one, so that's a coconut wax. It's a little bit harder, so that would probably whip pretty decently. So I whip everything because you can.
Yeah, that's what a lot of it's just on the look that you want.
Yeah.
So your hand might get tired doing this though. I can see that happening. I feel like we're getting there. We're getting closer to the crumble.
There's one of my girls, Dixon Candle and Bath. She used to whip wax with a fork back in 2004. That's right. She knows those candles. Oops. Crap. Yeah, so does this work well with all waxes? Yes, absolutely. You can whip all waxes except for palm wax. Palm wax does not like to whip. Beeswax is a little sticky whipping too. So if you whip beeswax, it does tend to be a little sticky. But all waxes. What type of wax is better whipped? Whatever you want to whip, not palm, not beeswax. Pretty much everything else can be whipped. All right. Yep. Coconut and soy wax blend. Yes. So the one that we piped, this was our coconut soy blend.
Yeah, that one was nice because it was creamy and everything too. So
You're starting to get crumbs.
yeah, it's getting there. Process.
Would have been a lot easier if I used less wax. So.
This is true. Yeah, because we can see. So you guys see on the outside here, there's a little more crumbles. Even some here on top, there's a little more crumbles, but on the inside, it's still pretty liquidy. So you can see the crumbs on the outside, and then here it's still like flop.
And here is this beautiful pink candle that I just dipped. So needs a little trimming on the bottom, but yeah, that looks pretty delicious. We could even like take some white icing and ice the top if we wanted to.
Getting
That pink
crazy
candle.
now.
I know. Food candles are so much fun. You can be so creative with them. It's fun. Like in the grocery store, they have like how to bake these pies and these cakes. Like who wants to really bake all that anyway? But I like looking at the pictures. I'm very much a picture. So I always look at those books when I go through the grocery store line, and I'm like, that would make an awesome candle. That would be a fun candle.
Candle inspiration.
So to me, the food and the baking ones and everything are very good candle inspiration.
Good for soap too.
And soap inspiration too. Yeah. All kinds of inspiration.
I think too when you're selling like something that people like recognize, like some type of food or some type of like thing that has some nostalgia, to like help people buy your product too.
I hear
a connection to it.
Sometimes we hear in the showroom where people complain when like they get put next to the food vendors at shows. If you're selling food candles and
It's a
people are
perfect
in
spot
line
to
for
be.
the food, come on, it's so easy to sell those. So people come right over and
Yeah, especially
Right.
too if there's like a wait and then they're just hanging
Yep.
around waiting for their
hanging
food.
around. You always want to be
Perfect
by the
timing.
food, so it's always the most crowded one.
Sure, you don't want to buy like the insurance people that everybody like runs with us.
Yeah, the multi-level marketing ones with the windows and the bath fitters and stuff like that. You don't want to be near them. So, yeah, be near the food. That's where everybody wants to go. It's coming out good.
Yeah, we're definitely getting there.
We have a lot of chocolate crumbs. We're gonna have a lot of chocolate.
Yeah, there's a
crumbs.
lot of chocolate here.
Oh, I had like a block of wax like this, just from leftovers from class or whatever. So it's like, oh, I'll just melt that down and we'll make all kinds of crumbs. So, but then I can only think like things in crumbs were graham cracker crumbs and chocolate crumbs. I'm really not familiar with any other kind of crumbs out there.
Well, I mean, around the
vanilla crumbs would be. I've never seen it.
around the chocolate realm too, you could do like Oreo crumbs.
True.
Do like an Oreo type thing. Is Oreo trademarked? Is that like a
How
thing
would
you have to worry
yeah,
about?
we're probably going to get letters from somebody's lawyers. Now that you said it, no. So that's making crumbs. Projects to follow there.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys need to like watch me finish this, but it's the same
Yeah,
thing.
show them what it looks like. Yeah.
So you can see the little crumbs.
Yep. Here's completely finished.
Yeah. So you got
That's
still got some
well
like
on
still
its
got some
way.
chunks here, but the little ones. Yeah. So you got a bunch of the little crumbs, still a
But the
couple
more you
chunks,
work with
but just
that-
keep going.
The more you work with that, you can keep going. So lots of yeah. And yeah, we're super inspired for pie, so we're gonna have a lot of pie blog posts and stuff coming up.
Yes. Oh wait, talking about it's like National, is it Peach Day or Peach Pie Day that's like coming?
Yeah, National Peach Pie Day is coming up, so
Isn't that next week?
yeah, somewhere around there.
Yes.
Pie days are great for candle making.
Yeah,
And
so
then
we'll do a
think about
pie
this
live at some
too.
point.
So even if you do a pie, you want to garnish it, you can garnish it with like graham crackers on top for like crumb pies, chocolate crumb pie on there.
There we go. That looks lovely.
It does look lovely. So we got our chocolate crumbs, we got our graham cracker crumbs. We are all ready to pie.
To crumb all the things.
Make everything crummy. Yeah, that's
All
fun.
right.
That's fun. Whipping wax, if you teach classes too, like a bakery class or whip wax class, that's very easy for like anybody beginners. You're not working with a lot of heat, so even though this is still warm and stuff, you can
It's
still
not
touch
really
it. So it's a fun class to have too. So yeah. So those are our ideas on whipping wax. That's our fun for today.
Easy as
So
that.
It is very, very easy. Yeah. So we'll have more projects coming up. But anyway, thank you everybody for watching us and joining us this Wednesday. And we will see you next week for a fun-filled episode of I have no idea what. But
Pretty sure it's peach pies next week, but don't quote me.
Cool. We'll be using these crumbs.
All right. Have a good week, guys.
Thank you.